So this video is going to be on the chapter skin and temperature control. As we've already studied homeostasis, so you guys know about whatever we're going to study in this chapter. So the function of skin and what exactly it is. Skin is a layer your whole body is covered with. Obviously you guys know that. It protects the body from dirt, germs and damage. That's because the entire organs, muscles, veins and everything inside the body is covered with this layer. So it protects us, the inner parts of the body, from the outer environment, which is dirt, could be germs or any damage, any sort of damage that could cause harm to the body. It contains nerve endings, nerves, that means it's sensitive to touch, temperature and pain. Now, what are these things called? They are stimulus. They can create a reaction inside the body. The change in temperature could be pain, could be touch, anything at all. So whatever we feel, it's because we are feeling it on the skin, and that's like, how do we recognize the feel? The sense of touch, that's because of the sensory neurons that are present inside the skin. So they take the impulses to the brain, and then that's how we know about it. Then the next point is it excretes water and salts from the body as sweat. Now whatever substances are inside the body, obviously the blood carries them. Alright. So the blood also carries the waste away. Now from the body, the waste is excreted out through different I would say chemicals, or so like we pass out the waste, and then we have another example as like sweat and tears. So that's how the internal chemicals which are not digested properly, or like they need to get out of the body, all the toxicants, they are excreted out through different parts of the body, right? So one of the, like I would say, one of the toxicants is sweat, and it releases the heat from the body and it excretes out from the body through the skin. And sweat is a mixture of water and salts which are not digested. Then it helps keep the body at a steady temperature. So that's what we're going to study in the next slide. This is a picture of skin which contains epidermis, dermis and subcutaneous tissues, which are adipose tissues. This whole picture would be described in the next slide. So I'd like you all to see the next slide, which is here. What is the structure of a skin? As we just looked here in the previous slide, we have some layers on the skin. We have studied them all briefly in the ATP portion, but I'm gonna discuss it one more time. So we have an outer layer which is tough. It protects the inner parts of the body, and this layer is made up of dead cells. Now these dead cells, they continuously flake off, so the body keeps on getting rid of them. So we have these dead cells all around the skin. They're continuously falling off of the skin so that they keeps the body healthy. Then we have sebaceous glands. They are also known as the oil glands. They produces oil to keep the skin waterproof, and they reduce the growth of germs. Then we have hair root. It's a deep tube inside the skin which is known as hair follicle. Now hair follicle is basically a gap in which the hair is present. So hair on the surface of the head, it keeps the head protected by the direct sunlight, and hair on the body, they keep the body warm in winters. So that's what hair exactly do, and that's why we have hair on the body. There's this fatty layer like really down under the skin, and this layer is also known as the adipose tissues layer. It basically has fats that are stored under the skin to keep the body warm, since they cause insulation. So whatever product we eat and whatever the amount of fats is present in it, it gets digested into the body, right? But that amount which is not digested, the undigested fats, they travel around the blood and then they move to the skin and they form a layer, like they start forming a layer beneath the skin. This layer keeps the body warm. That's because it traps the heat inside. It provides insulation. Then we have sweat glands. Now sweat glands produces sweat to reduce heat and keep the body cold during hot weather. By this sentence, what do we exactly mean? We'll be studying it in the next two slides. Alright, so temperature control. Regular temperature of the body is 37 degrees Celsius. Now, this temperature is regulated in the brain and monitored by thermoregulatory center. This center is sensitive to temperature, so any temperature drop or temperature rise sends out signal which causes change to occur to make it normal again. Now, just exact same thing which happened in homeostasis, what we studied about was regulation of glucose, right? And then temperature and water potential. So how is that all controlled? It's basically happening inside the brain. We have hormones, we have glands all over our body, right? So these glands, they help regulate the temperature inside the body. If there is a temperature rise, which means, for example, we have a regular temperature of the body in which all the enzymes or hormones or chemical mechanisms, they work, right? So that basic regular optimum temperature is 37 degrees C. Alright, if there's a drop, like if there's this percentage of temperature which goes down from 37, could be 35, 32, 20 something, or if there's a rise in the temperature, we're not talking about body, we're talking about the environment. So if there's a rise in temperature like 40 or 60 degrees C in the environment, then the body would get to know about it, because the skin, it has sensory neurons all around it. So this, like a whole of the neurons, the nerve impulses would carry the nerve signals to the brain. They'll let the brain know that there has been a rise in the temperature or a drop in the temperature, and that the body needs to act according to that. So that's what happened because of the hormones and because of this system, thermoregulatory center present in the brain. That's what happens. So